This conference will now be recorded.
Alrighty, again, welcome to the 2018 Flag Football Season webinar. Everyone knows me. My name is Hunter Brislin. I'm the Team Sports and Coach Education Program Director. Mr. Tom Hoffman and Mr. Scott Jaggers are two of my Flag Football Sport Advisory team members, and both are my lead referee contacts. You will see them out at each of the regional tournaments this year, all three regional tournaments, and then you will also see them there with the KFOA, Kentuckiana Football Officials Association. So they do high school and college games as well, and then they help us out with all of our games. So if you see them, introduce yourselves and give them a big thanks for helping us out with officials all season long. Alrighty, Special Olympics mission to provide year-round sports training and athletic competition in a variety of Olympic-type sports for children and adults with intellectual disabilities by giving them continuing opportunities to develop physical fitness, demonstrate courage, experience joy, and participate in the sharing of gifts, skills, and friendships with their families and other Special Olympic athletes in the community. Coach certification process. Okay, all coaches should know you need to be a Class A volunteer prior to the season. So in order to become a Class A volunteer, you need to do several things, three of which are good for 3 years, and one of which is good for life. So the first thing that you need to do is complete the Class A volunteer application. Again, this is good for 3 years. Second thing you need to do is complete the volunteer orientation training and submit its quiz. The third thing is complete the Special Olympics International Protective Behaviors course and complete its quiz as well. And then the concussion training is the last item that you need to complete. So again, you will complete all of these online, and I've provided the link down there at the bottom of the screen. You can do all of these in about an hour or so. Once you complete all these, you don't have to let me know. I will get those certifications automatically. So again, this is the process that every single one of our coaches that's helping out in any type of coaching capacity for flag football needs to take care of all of these items, okay? The Coach's Corner site. So this is a pretty new site here on our homepage. You can find this under the Volunteer Corner tab, again off of the homepage. When you click that, you will see the homepage for the Coach's Corner. So basically what this is a page in which we have tried to provide anything that we need or think that coaches need that is essential to any sports season. So you'll notice there at the top of the slide, the Special Olympics Coach Oath. So just like we have an athlete oath, we do have a coach oath. I'm not going to take time to read that, but all coaches should be familiar with that coach's oath as it goes into depth about really what a Special Olympics coach means and the values that you guys should have and the rules that you need to abide by while on the playing field and off the playing field. That site also goes over coach's responsibilities and what is expected of you as a coach. And then off of that page, you will also see a course titled Coaching Special Olympic Athletes. So basically, this course is offered at a charge of $16.95 for any coach who is pretty familiar within a sports background, whether it's flag football, basketball, softball, it doesn't matter, but is not familiar in coaching our athletes, because our athletes need to be coached differently in a lot of different ways, and there are certain things that are going to come up that are different than a normal circumstance. So this course goes into great depth on how to truly coach Special Olympic athletes the right way. Also on the site, you'll have key coaching forms. So accident incident report form, request for certificate of insurance. So this is a really popular one, as a lot of facilities require this for different teams that are practicing at all the different facilities. Athlete medical form. Athlete medical form is something that obviously all of our athletes have to have a medical form on file with us. Like the coaches classes, this is good for 3 years as well. The Class A volunteer application can be found off of this page, and how to use our logo. So logo usage guidelines can also be found. Then you have codes of conduct. So we have codes of conduct for coaches, athletes, family members, and volunteers. All of those are available on this page. They can be printed out, and what we suggest is that you print these out prior to the beginning of the season or practice, and you bring them to practice and you hand these out to all of your coaches, all of the athletes, and all the family members of those athletes, and they can simply, there's a spot at the bottom of these codes of conduct in which that you can have them sign off on it saying that they will abide by these different items throughout the course of the season. So we definitely recommend that you print off each of these codes of conduct and have those handy to hand out. Alrighty, getting into flag football specific. We will have 3 regional tournaments and 1 state tournament. The first regional tournament is set for Sunday, October 7th at Thomas More College. And you'll see on all of these times RTBA. Typically, we'll start regionals around 11 and run through about 3 to 4 p.m. or so, depending on the number of teams that we have signed up. The second regional is the Louisville Regional. It is Sunday, October 14th at St. Xavier High School. Third and final regional is at the Danville Regional, in which will take place at Center College on Sunday, October 21st. The state tournament is set for November 10th at Tates Creek High School in Lexington. And unlike softball and basketball, everyone will qualify for the state tournament as long as you compete in one of these regional tournaments listed. All right, regional and state event fees. Regional fees are $30 per team per regional. State fees are $10 per person, in which is listed on the team roster. So everyone listed on that team roster needs to pay $10 for the state tournament. All fees are to be paid in full prior to each regional and state event, and the fees can be mailed to the address listed there, in which is our state office. So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about regionals, as regionals are a little bit different for flag football as we don't have leagues. So regionals will kind of serve as a divisioning tool to allow us to help, get every team where it really needs to go as far as a division standpoint. Because like I said, everyone does qualify for state. So there may be some lopsided scores in regionals. It's going to happen potentially, and but the main thing is that we get it right going into state. So just like a league serves as a divisioning tool for softball or basketball, the same goes for regionals when it comes to flag football. And then kind of the process whenever you show up to regionals and state, it's like any other sport. You'll get there and there won't be any sign-in for regionals. There will be a sign-in or registration process for state when you arrive, as you'll be picking up T-shirts for state tournament. Again, regionals, you will not have any sign-in required or registration process. You will basically just get to the field and you will know what field number you're playing on, and I'll get to that here in a little bit later, but typically we'll break up the field, the actual football field, into 4 different smaller fields. And then you'll know what field you play on by the bracket, and you'll report directly to that field. Just like all the other sports, you'll have lineup cards, and you will give those to the scorers table, in which will be at each field. All right, 2018 season rule changes. So the first one on here is a new rule. The ball can either be snapped between the center's legs to the QB or on the side of the hip as one continuous motion from the ground to the QB. Now, this is new compared to the old rule, in which was stated as ball could only be snapped between the legs of the center. And this has been updated on page 12 and 15 in the SOAP Flag Football Manual. Another new rule, mercy rule. At any point a team is up by 36 or more, the clock will be continuously running the remainder of the game. Also, the second half of play will be shortened from 20 minutes to 15 minutes. If this 36-point differentiation is hit in the first half of play, the remainder of the first half will be a running clock, but not shortened in total time. Once the 36-point differentiation is met, at no point will the clock or regular amount of time ever go back to the normal ruling. Coaches, once the mercy rule goes into effect, your key players should come out, and subs, if you have any, should be then brought into the play the remainder of the game. This rule has been added on page 10 of the Soki Flag Football Manual. Number 3, forward handoff clarification and ruling update. Only direct handoffs behind the line of scrimmage are allowed. Handoffs may be in front, behind, or to the side of the quarterback or offensive player, but must be behind the line of scrimmage. Laterals and pitches are not allowed. This is new compared to the old rule of only direct handoffs behind the line of scrimmage are legal. Laterals and pitches are not allowed. And again, that has been changed and updated on page 12 under running in the Soki Flag Football Manual. Couple more rule changes or clarifications. Must snap ball clarification / ruling. When a must snap in the shotgun or under center formation occurs, ball doesn't make it to the quarterback, ball hits the ground before ever making it to the quarterback, or rolls on the ground to the quarterback. All of these are a must snap. The play is dead and the ball will return to the original line of scrimmage, but will be the next down. So a loss of downs, but will return to the original line of scrimmage. Now, if the ball is snapped over the quarterback's head or beside him or her in the air, the ball will be placed at the spot where the ball hits the ground. If the ball is snapped in the end zone, the result is a safety. The previous rule was just a dead ball where the ball hit the ground no matter whether it's a must snap or not. And this clarification or ruling has been updated on page 13 under dead ball fumbles in the Soki Flag Football Manual. And the last item, equipment updates. The flag belt. All flag belts must be one-piece clip or buckle style clasp that contain 3 flags that are permanently attached to the belt. The belt should be thicker style belts rather than the flimsy style flags to prevent from complete raising of the belt when pulled or stepped on. The belts also need to remain in the proper position, which is on the waistline, and a flag on each hip and then in the back. This is brand new headgear, rugby style, and this is very important. Soft padded headgear will now be allowed to be worn. This headgear is not mandatory, but is highly encouraged to help prevent serious head injury due to collisions or any other type of event that may affect the head. This headgear must be one solid color, preferably black, and soft padded. And I've given a link there in which you can find those. All right, moving on to divisioning. Not really going to go into that as everyone understands divisioning pretty well. But for any new coaches that we have on today, you can refer to page 5 in the Flag Football Manual, in which is the divisioning criteria to help you place your team where you think they belong as far as the division goes. And again, it's very important to keep in mind that a team's division level may change from regional to state. And everyone knows and understands that ability is the #1 primary divisioning factor in Special Olympics. Age and sex are secondary factors. All right. The Flag Football Sports Manual. So I'm not going to cover everything in the manual. Everyone needs to be familiar with it. If you don't have a copy of it, you can find a copy of it on the Soki Resource Library page, in which is off of the Soki.org homepage. Or you can shoot me an email, and I'll be more than happy to send you a copy as well. So we're going to dive into this, and if you've got a manual, you can go ahead and pull it out if you've got it handy there. If not, just kind of follow along, If anything catches your ear that you may have a question on, again, put those in the chat, and I will get to all of those questions at the end of the webinar, okay? So, official events, of course, is team competition. It is 5v5. Again, we will have 3 regionals, 1 state tournament, in which all teams will qualify for the state tournament as long as they compete in 1 regional. An intermediate youth-size football will be used in all divisions. Everyone knows 1 piece, 3 flag belt will be worn by all athletes during games. Now, it is important these belts must be of different color than the predominant color of the team uniforms and the team shorts or pants. So the flags need to stand out, basically, is what it's saying. Athletes are also required to wear a protective mouthpiece that is not white or clear. All mouthpieces must be colored. For visual and emergency purposes, mouthpieces must also have at least a 4-inch stem on them. So a little rubber stem, make sure you just don't cut it all the way down to the actual mouth guard itself. It needs to have a 4-inch stem on them. All levels and divisions will play on a field that is ideally 60 yards long, including end zones, and 25 yards wide. And I will show the field diagram here in just a little bit. The actual size, of course, will be determined by the space available at a particular venue. Each team is required to play all team members in every game played. So it's very important. Every team is required to play all team members in every game played. Proper attire. All players must wear matching numbered uniforms. Numbers must be on both the front and back of the uniform and must be tucked in at the waist. Jerseys must be long enough to be tucked in, no mid-drift jerseys. All players must wear rubber cleated or flat-soled athletic shoes. Metal cleats, spikes, hiking boots, or other equipment deemed dangerous by officials will not be allowed. No blue jean shorts or pants or denim of any kind are allowed. All team members must wear shorts or pants that are the same color, and no shorts or pants can have pockets. No pockets are allowed, as that's a big safety issue. Stocking caps and football-proof gloves are acceptable in cold weather. Skull caps may be worn to protect an athlete's head from the sun. Those players who wear eyeglasses while playing are required to wear a strap to hold the glasses in place. No jewelry is allowed by any athlete unless for medical reasons. In medical reason cases, athletes should wear tape or a sweatband to cover it. I already talked a little bit about the football. Again, it's an intermediate youth-size football that is used. And we have already talked about the mouthpiece and the flag belt. Again, the headgear, we do allow headgear now. The rugby-style soft padded headgear is allowed to be worn for safety reasons. All team members must be listed on the official team roster. The minimum allowed per team is 5 players and the maximum is 15. We strongly encourage a team at least have 8 players on the roster from a subbing standpoint. A team must have a minimum of 5 players to start a game, which is required. Teams may continue with a minimum of 4 players if necessary due to disqualification or injury. The game. All games will consist of 2 20-minute halves, in which is running time, and until the last minute of each time, at which the clock will stop on all dead ball whistles. Mercy rule, talked a little bit about it. Again, it's when a team is up 36 points or more. There will be a 5-minute halftime break in between the first and second halves. Each team is entitled to 2 regular 60-second timeouts per half. Any unused timeouts in the first half do not carry over to the second half. Only the captain or coach can call timeouts. The clock will stop on all timeouts. In B division, this is really important. In B division, only one coach per team is allowed on the field at all times. They may assist in the offensive huddles, defensive huddles, and or placement of athletes on the field. He or she must relocate and be out of the way when the ball is stopped. I'm not going to go into overtime much. Scoring, everyone can look at that. That's on page 11 of your sports manual. Coin toss will be determined the first possession. And you can find the all the penalties and the dead ball fumbles and all of that. That's on page 13 and 14. Any supplement to the rules you can find on 14 and 15. Shielding or flag guarding. Runners shall not flag guard by using their hands, arms, or the ball to deny the opportunity for opponent to pull or remove their flag belt. This includes swinging the hand or arm over the flag belt, stiff arms, placing the ball in possession over the flag belt, or lowering the shoulders or arm over the flag belt. All right, moving on to the field diagram. So you can find this on page 17. So this kind of goes and breaks down exactly how we will be setting up the fields. And you'll really get to see this at your first regional of how we set this up with cones and whatnot. But basically the bottom picture there, you can see this is what you'll see at both the regional and state tournaments. We'll take the normal length of the football field and we'll break it up into 4 fields if we have the max number of teams competing at a regional. We may only have 2 depending on the number, or 3. But typically we'll have 4 going across all length of the football field. All right, coaches. Again, I really do appreciate you guys jumping on in the middle of a work day to join us for this webinar. I hope these webinars is something that, we can continue to do for each sport and is helpful to you coaches to answer just any questions that you may have and to, help benefit you to have a great 2018 flag football season. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this webinar is being recorded, so you may find and rewatch this recorded webinar at the link provided there, and I will be sending that link out to all coaches just in case you do not have that. For any of those that you do have questions, please stay on the webinar. I will stay on for 5 to 10 more minutes to answer any questions in the chat that is provided there. If you don't have any questions, have a great rest of your day and a great rest of the week. All right, I appreciate it and look forward to a great season. Thanks, guys.